So I've got this Flash file, and I am just going to add sound in there, and a lot of you have been having issues with the sound playing far earlier. Just a quick note, the first thing you want to check is the actual sound here. I want the big waves to match up with the very first keyframe on my run, where he begins to become larger, and you can play around with that just by clicking and dragging. So that's where it's going to play. So in this case, I'm not having any issues with the sound playing earlier, but if you are, you will want to export this as a movie, and just to make sure, you just want to delete the sound so you're not exporting it with the sound and trying to make sound edits from there. So export it as a movie, and I'm going to export it as a QuickTime. I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it audio demo. I'm going to go into the folder. I'm going to change the file name, sound demo mushroom sound. There you go. You can export it as all these other files. I prefer QuickTime. So you can go ahead and click save, and you're going to get this export settings. There's your size. If you want, you can ignore the stage color and generate an alpha channel. I don't want to do that, and more or less everything else is fine. And it takes a minute to do it. Then it says QuickTime export is now complete, and it tells you where you can view it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Adobe Premiere. I'm going to create a new project, and you're going to get your scratch discs, and I'm going to keep these all as same as project, which means it's all going to save in the same location, which is right here. And I'm going to change the location, and I'm just going to put it in that folder I just created. Select folder, and then display format, make sure it's on frames. You can leave this as audio samples, and this is just standard versus high def, HD, high def. Change the name, and this will be the name of your project. Okay, and you get all these other things here. So I'm going to keep it at the DV setting. These are going to give you all these types of different settings, as widescreen, standard, things like that. For your main concern, most of you are going to probably want to keep it standard. Your aspect frame ratio will be 4:3 instead of 16:9. 4:3 is like a square. 16:9 is widescreen. And opening up the software, it's just loading up real quick. I'm going to go to File, Import, Audio. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the sound, which I had located in a different folder. And just open. So I imported my mushroom sound. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import my desktop, the video from the desktop. I'm going to go to that's the Premiere project, and I'm going to import the video that I just made from Flash. So I'm importing that file now. You can scrub through it and you can see what's happening just directly on the where you imported the file. You can click and drag, bring it in there. It's going to ask you if you want to match sequence settings, hit change. So this way it'll match your video. All the settings will be changed regardless of what you clicked on in the beginning of opening Premiere, which is very, very nice. So now I've got this. All you have to do is hit enter to play it, and it'll play it in the preview for you. You can scrub through it in the timeline section in the approximately the center of the screen, but it's the top left of the timeline section. You have your frame rate. As long as you set it to frames, it'll play it by frames. So I would know I want my sound around here, and I'm actually trying to grab the project. I want to grab the sound. Okay, so now I've got the sound in there. Now I'm going to just let it play, and I'm having that issue where I didn't match up the wavelengths, so it's actually going to start playing a few seconds, not seconds, but a few frames late, only because the first few frames of this audio clip were silent. So I'm going to go ahead and scrub through arrow with the arrow keys, and then I know I need to make the cut there. I make the cut, I select it, and delete it. So now I know the sound starts exactly at the beginning of that audio clip, and then the sound dies approximately around here. And you can see it in the dB bar on the right, which goes from green to red, red being very loud. I know I need to make a cut here on the sound clip just because it's silent after that point. I'm going to select it, I'm going to delete it, and I'm using the little razor blade tool to do that. And now I know he makes contact with the mushroom there, and I'm just going to slide it over to that point, and it'll snap right to it onto the red line, the playback head. And I've got my sound synced up 100% with where I want it, where it makes contact, and then where he begins to transform to be larger, as in Super Mario, where he gets large from touching a mushroom. You don't have to really worry about anything in the top left corner of this software. Just worry about the bottom left, top right, bottom right sections. The timeline, the preview, and then where you're importing your files. You can right click on the sound and adjust the dB, which is just the sheer volume of the sound. I think it's okay. I know you guys can't hear it on here, and that's just because of the software, the motion capture or screen capture. You can change some other settings, and if you're going to change like the speed of it to make it like slow-mo or super fast, you can go ahead and do that, and then just remember that it's going to change the length of the actual sound itself. So you notice it doubled it when I made it 50%. I'm just going to Control Z it. I don't want to do anything with that. Keep the sound as is, and it plays perfectly fine. So the next thing I want to do is export the file, export media. I'm going to change this to a QuickTime, but you have all these other options. I'm going to keep it at QuickTime. I'm going to keep the preset because it changed the sequence settings for me. And then video codec, keep it at H.264. It keeps the file size low and the quality high. And just keep the audio codec as is. I don't want to add any Gaussian blur, but I do want to use maximum render quality, and it does change the original preset it had, but not a big deal. It's only because you changed that little box. You click the box. So then go ahead and just change where you are going to put your file, where you're going to export it, so you know where it is. So output name, you just click on that. And then when that's all said and done, click export. It'll export your QuickTime file. And then you can go ahead and locate the file. Go into desktop. locate your folder. I've got 2 here, but I know which one I want. The H.264 compression, I know it's going to be smaller, so right click, open with QuickTime. To view in full screen, hit Control F. If you want it to loop through, hit Control L. If you want to watch it full screen while it's looping as well, you're going to have to hit Control L before you hit Control F. Not a big deal, but other than that, just hit play. It'll play for you. Nice thing about QuickTime is you can scrub through it and with the arrow keys frame by frame. But that's about it. Hope this was helpful.